Today I'll be doing the BMA's FBI test.
The FBI is one of the United States' frontline criminal justice agencies, and because they're tasked with investigating serious threats and dangerous crimes, they only hire the best of the best. To see if you've got what it takes, I've created a test based on the logic-based reasoning phase of the FBI Special Agent selection process. But I should warn you, only around 5% of applicants make it through to special agent status. So, let's put you in the shoes of a real FBI agent and see if you can pass the test. Question 1. Your first case takes place at a local city hospital. The Surgeon General has been killed. She appears to have been stabbed with a scalpel, but the scalpel is missing from the crime scene. Your team has gathered the primary suspects and searched through their belongings. There's the plastic surgeon.
Obviously there's a scalpel, because plastic surgery would require a scalpel.
Then there's the dentist.
Obviously would probably require.
There's also the psychiatrist.
Whoa. Don't snitch. Yeah,
And
but psychiatrists don't use scalpel.
finally, the pathologist. There's also the psychiatrist. And finally, the pathologist.
Oh, pathologists. Yeah, they use scalpel.
After examining all of the evidence, which of these four do you think took out the Surgeon General?
Like the comment said, psychiatrists don't use scalpels. Psychiatry is basically therapy. It's non-invasive and you need to express your problems. Not they lobotomize you, analyze the brain, and check for problems. No, don't do that.
Did you get it? So the key here is what the Surgeon General was assassinated with, a scalpel. The plastic surgeon had 2 scalpels, but both of them are used in his line of work, so that's not suspicious. The dentist needs her scalpel for routine surgeries, and the pathologist uses theirs to dissect cadavers. That just leaves the psychiatrist. Psychiatry relies on non-invasive treatments, so why does he have a scalpel in his belongings? Busted! Sorry, Doc, but you might call this a Freudian slip-up. Question 2. Scalpel in his belongings. Busted! Sorry, Doc, but you might call this a Freudian slip-up.
Yep.
Question 2. Next, you're called to examine the scene of a storefront robbery. When you arrive, the store's janitor explains that he saw thieves smash the window and break in, so he went to call for help. When he got back, they'd taken everything and busted the door open to get away. The janitor tried to clean up the mess, cutting himself in the process. After looking over the crime scene, you just know that the janitor is lying. But what is it that gives him away? Is it A, the door?
No, because the door is pushed in such a way where it had to have been busted to go inside from the outside.
B, the window glass?
Glass can go any which way, so.
Or C, the janitor's cuts?
See, those cuts are way too damaged for someone who is just cleaning the glass and not looking for an alibi for a crime.
Let's
they
break this
committed.
down. The door frame is broken outwards, indicating that whoever was inside broke out, so that fits the story.
Oh,
What
look.
about the glass
Yeah, what?
below the window? Glass can shatter in all directions when it's hit, so this isn't enough evidence to prove he's lying. The janitor's arms, however, are covered in bits of glass. He did say he was cleaning up, but those tiny shards indicate he was standing really close to the window when it was broken, probably when he was smashing it. Seems like this janitor did more of a clean sweep than a cleanup. Well done for catching a break in this case. Question 3. After taking the janitor into custody, you clock 3 identical criminals in the neighboring cells. You've dealt with them before. They're called Mr. Blue, Mr. Red, and Mr. White. Under their coats, they're each wearing one of 3 shirts, which are red, blue, or white. Mr. Blue says, "Hey, did you guys notice that we're all wearing different colored shirts from our names?" The man wearing the white shirt says, "Wow, Mr. Blue, that's right. It's not much to go on, but can you figure out who's wearing what color shirt?"
So it can't be based off their name, which means that Mr. Blue has a red shirt because white's already taken. Which means that Mr. White has a blue shirt because red is already taken.
Did you get it? Well, Mr. Blue could only be wearing white or red, but you know that there is already someone else wearing the white shirt. That means Mr. Blue could only be wearing the red shirt. Mr. White could only be wearing a blue or a red shirt, and red is already taken. So Mr. White is wearing a blue shirt. That means Mr. Red must be wearing a white shirt. Fortunately, it's no big deal, because soon they'll all be wearing orange jumpsuits. Question 4. You head over to your desk and look through some crime scene photos. When you ask your boss, which one of these buildings is the new crime scene in, she says, the closest one. Now, look carefully. Which of these buildings is closer? Is it A, the left, or B, the right?
A. Don't lie to me, buddy. You can see that A has an overlap. B is just bulgy.
How sharp were your eyes? Because the answer is A, the one on the left. That building has blocked out the pattern of railings on the right-hand building. And if you look closely, you can also see the satellite dish obscuring the other building as well. This may not be an eye test, but you do need 20/20 vision in at least one eye to qualify as a special agent. So if you just reached for your reading glasses, I've got bad news for you, Grandpa. Question 5. You receive a tip-off that a notorious criminal is planning a June-time heist in Minnesota. Sure enough, on June's first Saturday, he heads to a car dealer, apparently with the intention of stealing a Ferrari. You catch him as he's heading there, but he explains that he's arranged to buy a new car on Sunday and is just looking to test drive the car today. How can you know that he's lying? A, the month, B, the day, or C, the car?
B the day. Because isn't it illegal to sell vehicles on Sundays in Minnesota?
Well, there's nothing incredibly special about the car itself, aside from being very expensive, and the month doesn't really tell you anything, except that it's lovely weather for a test drive. It all comes down to the day. Why? Because Minnesota law prohibits the sale of items such as vehicles on a Sunday, thanks to the state's century-old blue law. So how had the criminal arranged to buy a new car on a Sunday in Minnesota? Well done for pumping the brakes on this liar. Question 6. Back in the office, you're asked to join an undercover investigation involving 2 women that have been kidnapped and held hostage for over 6 months. As the law closes in on the place they're being held, a covert photo taken inside reveals 3 women tied up and, suspiciously, no guard in sight. They have blindfolds and gags on, so you can't get a good look at their faces. But from this photo alone, you can tell that one of these women is clearly the kidnapper. So, who is it?
The one and only blue-haired girl. Because the yellow-haired girl, she's blonde but has brown roots, which means her hair is dying. The brown-haired girl could be in a similar situation, but I doubt it. Her hair's really messy, so it means it hasn't been combed. But the blue-haired girl doesn't have a natural hair color. Hair dye will wear out. And her hair is way too short.
The only way to solve this question is to get to the root of the problem. Literally, the lady in the middle has long blonde hair with brown roots, showing that she hasn't been to the hair salon in quite some time. The lady on the left has brown hair, which has probably been growing out the same way. But blue hair just isn't natural, unless you're a member of The Simpsons. With her well-topped-up roots, it would seem
Well, yeah, but she dyes her hair.
this lady has tried and failed to blend in with her captives to avoid arrest. At least now, she'll have a reason to look blue. Question 7. You receive a report that the body of a woman dressed deceptively in men's clothes has been found next to a dumpster. As you make your way to the crime scene, you notice a small crowd has gathered around it. They include garbage men who want to collect the dumpster, a reporter for the local paper, and a bicycle courier out on delivery. Fortunately, the scene was secured in time, so no one saw the victim. The next day, an article in the local paper described exactly where the young woman was found. While it wasn't anything new to you, it just helped you identify the prime suspect. Who do you think it was? A garbage man, B, the courier, or C,
The journalist.
journalist?
Because, like explained, that is men's clothing. So why would you know it's a woman unless you were the one who knocked her out, hid her under the trash can? Journalist.
How did you do? The key detail here came from the papers. Anyone at the crime scene could have told you where the body was found. But how would the journalist who wrote the article have known it was a young woman? Even if they caught a glimpse of the body, she was dressed like a man. So the journalist was doing a lot more than just taking a few pictures. Seems like this reporter would do anything to get a big story. Question 8. Your next case seems like a real crime of passion. A serial killer suspect known as the Black Widow has been killing all of the men that she dates by poisoning them in plain sight. She takes them to dinner and splits a slice of pie with them for—
Okay. The fact it's in plain sight and the fact that it's the same woman, wouldn't they get her arrested or banned from any restaurants? And wouldn't the man know not to date her? And how has she not made it on the news?
dessert. Using her knife, she cuts the pie in half. They romantically feed each other the first forkful, and then eat the rest with their own forks. He opens a bottle of champagne, and they both drink a glass to wash it down. But suddenly, he drops dead. He's been poisoned. Without being able to connect the poison directly to the Black Widow, she keeps walking free. It's been under the agency's skin for months. But looking at the crime scene, how do you think the Black Widow is poisoning her dates? Is it on A, the fork, B, the pie, C, the knife?
The knife. They coat one half with the poison, and it's the half that would cut the boyfriend's cake. So that way she doesn't poison herself, because the wine would have to be freshly opened. Which means she couldn't put the poison in during the date, and couldn't have put it in before. Since they ate off each other's fork, she would poison herself. And obviously, same thing for the pie.
Or D, the champagne?
So, obviously it's not the pie, champagne, or fork.
Let's crack this case. Testing the pie won't yield any results, seeing as they ordered it from the restaurant. The poison could be on the fork, except they both ate off each other's forks. So if it were, then she risked poisoning herself as well. The champagne had just been opened, so she couldn't have dropped the poison in it without being obvious. That leaves the knife. By covertly coating just one side of the blade with the poison, she was able to serve him the poisoned pie without any risk to herself. Looks like you caught this spider in her own wicked web. Question 9. There's no time to waste. The owner of a large mansion was just found fatally stabbed. You arrive at the scene and determine the only possible suspects are the 3 maids, who were the only people around at the time of the owner's death. And strangely, they all look like they have blood on their hands. Maid Annie explains that the blood on her is from where she cut her finger. Maid Becky claims her stains aren't blood, they're nail polish. And Maid Claire...
Because, let me zoom into that bottle.
Maid Annie explains that the blood on her is from where she cut her finger. Maid Becky claims her stains aren't blood, they're nail polish. And Maid Claire says she spit.
Yep, green grapes. For any of you who couldn't see that, obviously, green grapes, obviously, would be white wine. Because they typically don't have enough substance of liquid to produce red wine, so it becomes a clear color, thus being white
wine on herself. It all seems plausible, but can you tell who's lying?
So it's the third maid.
Ready for the answer? You can see that Maid Annie has managed to cut herself, so the blood on her apron is most likely hers. Maid Becky has painted red nails, so her explanation checks out. And Maid Claire is holding a wine bottle, but as you can see from the label, it's a white wine bottle. As you can tell by the name, that sort of liquid wouldn't leave a red stain. Looks like that's the end of Claire's clean record. Question 10. Your next assignment is a real cold case. A man has been murdered in a field of snow. Suspiciously, there's only one set of footprints which match the victim's shoes and 2 parallel lines leading toward the body, but nothing else. Close by, 3 suspects have been arrested in connection with his murder. A man with some luggage, a man in a wheelchair, and a woman with a bicycle. There's not much to go on except the rapidly disappearing tracks in the snow. But that's enough for any evil-eyed agent. So, who killed him?
So if it was the guy with the luggage, there wouldn't be 2 sets of the trail. And unless he was walking on the footprints, there would be a second trail of footprints. The girl with the bicycle, though it's implied that there's a fade in the tracks, would have to have done a full loop where the fade would be less visible at the end for that second track to appear, which means it's probably the guy in the wheelchair, because he could just scoot it up, not produce any foot marks, because his feet aren't even touching the ground. There's lightly off it. Because they're resting on the wheelchair. So he could just, like I said, scoot it forward, kill the guy, scoot it backward. So I'm locking in. The guy in the wheelchair can just I, yeah, and then
Now, we know that the set of footprints leading toward the body belonged to the victim. This rules out the man with the rolling suitcase, as he would have left another set of footprints. If the track marks were from the lady with the bike, there would be a loop at some point to show where she turned around. Seeing as there isn't, that means the prime suspect is the man in the wheelchair. He rolled behind the victim into the field, killed him, and then rolled back the way he came. I suppose that'll teach people not to push this guy around. Question 11. Your final case is the toughest of them all. A woman has been found shot in her car. After examining the scene, you can see that there are no powder marks on her clothes, meaning the gunman wasn't in the car and she didn't do it to herself. But all the windows are rolled up, there are no bullet holes, and no blood trails, indicating the victim was in the car the entire time. So, look closely. How do you think she got shot?
look at the car. It has a canopy, which means it's convertible, which means that while it's open, the person shot her, ran away while it closed, and then she died.
Did this one stump you? Well, if you look towards the rear of the vehicle, you might notice that canvas topping. That's right, the car is a convertible. It seems that whoever took out the victim got her just as she hit the button to close her roof. Wow, you really blew the roof off this case. Well, rookie, how did you do? Do you have what it takes to join the agency, or do you need to go back to training school? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.